Have you ever stumbled upon a place so bizarre, so otherworldly, that for a moment you questioned whether you were still on Earth? Our planet hides secrets that even the most imaginative sci-fi writers couldn't dream up. What if I told you there's a doorway to hell burning continuously for over 50 years? Or an underwater waterfall that defies physics? Today, we're exploring Earth's most surreal landscapes, places that make you wonder if you've accidentally stepped through a portal to another dimension. In the heart of Turkmenistan's Karakum Desert lies what locals call the Door to Hell, a massive crater that's been burning non-stop since the 1970s. When Soviet engineers accidentally punctured a natural gas chamber while drilling, they decided to light it on fire to prevent the methane from escaping. They expected it to burn out in a few days. Fast forward 5 decades, and this 230-foot wide inferno still rages on, its flames visible for miles across the desert at night. Temperatures near the center reach a blistering 1,100 gigawatts, hot enough to melt aluminum. But fire isn't the only element that creates gateways to other worlds. In Venezuela, Angel Falls plunges nearly 3,200 feet from the tabletop mountain of Ollantaytambo. That's about 15 times taller than Niagara Falls. The water falls so far that much of it evaporates into mist before ever reaching the ground, creating a permanent cloud that shrouds the base. Native Pamon people call it Karapakupai Meru, meaning waterfall of the deepest place. Meanwhile, in the Faroe Islands between Iceland and Norway, there's an optical illusion so perfect it stops travelers in their tracks. Lake Survagsvatn appears to hover hundreds of feet above the ocean on a cliffside, a floating lake defying gravity. In reality, it's a clever trick of perspective. The lake sits just about 90 feet above sea level, but the steep cliffs around it create the illusion that it's suspended impossibly high above the Atlantic. If you think the blue of the Caribbean is impressive, wait until you see Indonesia's Kawah Ijen volcano. Here, sulfuric gas ignites in the air and burns with an electric blue flame that flows like lava down the mountainside at night. This isn't computer-generated imagery. It's real chemistry at work. The mountain contains the world's largest acidic lake, and when sulfuric gases meet the oxygen in our atmosphere at temperatures around 1,192 degrees Celsius, they create this surreal blue fire phenomenon that can only be witnessed in total darkness. You know, most people think all rivers look basically the same, just different shades of blue or brown. But Colombia's Caño Cristales proves that assumption dead wrong. For a few weeks each year, this river transforms into what locals call the River of Five Colors, or the Liquid Rainbow. Vivid hues of red, yellow, green, blue, and black splash across its length as a unique aquatic plant called Macarenia clavigera blooms beneath the surface. The result looks like something from Avatar, not planet Earth. And speaking of rainbow colors, Wyoming's Grand Prismatic Spring in Yellowstone National Park stretches nearly 370 feet across, larger than a football field, displaying concentric rings of vibrant colors from deep blue in the center to orange and red at the edges. These aren't random. They're created by different heat-loving bacteria that thrive at specific temperatures. It's basically a living rainbow that you can actually visit. If you're enjoying this journey through Earth's most surreal locations, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our upcoming exploration of the world's most extreme environments. We post new videos every Wednesday, and trust me, You won't want to miss what's coming next. Some of Earth's most surreal places weren't created by nature alone, but by ancient civilizations in ways that still baffle scientists today. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built over 4,500 years ago, aligns with the cardinal directions, with an accuracy of less than 1/10 of a degree. For perspective, that's more precise than most modern buildings. Even more mind-blowing, the pyramid's 4 sides are concave. They curve inward slightly, a subtle engineering feature only visible from above, which wasn't discovered until aerial photography in the 1900s. Off the coast of Easter Island stand nearly 900 massive stone heads called moai, some weighing up to 80 tons. The mystery isn't just that they were carved with primitive tools, but how they were transported miles across the island without wheels or animals to pull them. Recent theories suggest they might have been walked by rocking them side to side, but imagine the coordination required to move an 80-ton statue this way without it toppling over. Then there's Machu Picchu, built atop a mountain ridge 8,000 feet above sea level in Peru. The most surreal aspect? Its stones fit together so perfectly that not even a credit card can slide between them, despite being cut without metal tools or even the wheel. The site is also designed to align with astronomical events, with specific windows and structures that capture the solstice sun in ways that still amaze modern astronomers. Northern Ireland's Giant's Causeway features over 40,000 interlocking basalt columns, most with 6 perfectly symmetrical sides. They look so precise that for centuries, locals believed they were carved by giants rather than formed by ancient volcanic activity. The science is actually just as fascinating. When lava cools at just the right rate, it contracts and cracks into these hexagonal columns, creating what looks like an alien landing pad stretching into the sea. In Brazil's Lençóis-Maranhenses National Park, pure white sand dunes stretch for miles, dotted with thousands of crystal-clear blue lagoons that appear like mirages in the desert. What makes this landscape truly surreal is the contradiction. It's technically not a desert at all, despite its endless sand dunes. The region receives around 47 inches of rainfall annually. That's more than Seattle, creating seasonal lagoons up to 10 feet deep between the dunes. Some fish even live in these temporary pools, surviving underground during dry seasons before emerging when the rains return. Off the coast of Mauritius, there's what appears to be an underwater waterfall, a massive cascade plunging into an oceanic abyss. But here's the mind-bender. It's actually an optical illusion. What you're seeing is sand and silt being pushed over the edge of an oceanic shelf by currents. The dramatic contrast between the light and dark blue waters creates the perfect illusion of a submarine waterfall, visible only from above. One of the most photographed aerial views on Earth. Death Valley holds a mystery that stumped scientists for decades. The famous sailing stones that move across the flat desert floor, leaving long trails behind them without any human or animal intervention. Some of these rocks weigh up to 700 pounds, yet somehow glide across the cracked earth. The secret was finally discovered in 2014. When winter brings rain to the desert, thin sheets of ice form at night. As temperatures rise during the day, these ice sheets break up, and pushed by light winds, can move the rocks ever so slowly across the slick mud beneath. The Danakil Depression in Ethiopia might be the closest thing to hell on Earth. And I mean that literally. This surreal landscape, sitting 410 feet below sea level, hosts temperatures regularly exceeding 122-degree geysers, toxic chlorine and sulfur gases that turn the air unbreathable, and acidic hot springs that can dissolve human flesh. Despite these extreme conditions, the region explodes with color. Bright yellows from sulfur deposits, deep greens from copper minerals, and fiery reds from iron. It's essentially what scientists imagine alien worlds might look like. Meanwhile, in Antarctica's dry valleys, no rain or snow has fallen for over 2 million years, making it the driest place on Earth. The landscape is so bizarre and lifeless that NASA uses it to test Mars rovers. Ancient mummified seals, possibly hundreds or thousands of years old, lie preserved on the valley floors, carried inland by confused seals who took a wrong turn and died in this waterless wasteland. Their bodies don't decompose in the cold, dry air. They simply mummify where they fall. Death Valley holds the record for the hottest air temperature ever reliably recorded on Earth. A scorching 134 degrees measured in 1913. For reference, that's hot enough to fry an egg on the ground in about 5 minutes, yet just 85 miles away, Mount Whitney reaches 14,505 feet, creating one of the most dramatic elevation changes in such a short distance anywhere on the planet. In Japan's Jigokudani Valley, Japanese macaques, the northernmost living non-human primates, have developed a unique cultural behavior. During winter, these wild monkeys descend from the forests to bathe in natural hot springs, sitting neck-deep in the steaming water like human tourists at a spa. What makes this truly surreal is that this isn't natural monkey behavior. They learned it by watching humans in the 1960s and passed this knowledge down through generations. It's one of the most fascinating examples of animal culture adoption ever documented. China's Hanging Temple of Hengshan defies not just architectural logic, but basic physics. Built more than 1,500 years ago, this temple complex hangs from the side of a cliff 246 feet above the ground, supported by what appears to be just a few thin wooden poles. Engineers still marvel at how it survived numerous earthquakes over the centuries. Even more surreal, the temple uniquely honors 3 different Chinese religions simultaneously: Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism, with deities from all 3 traditions displayed side by side. In the middle of Serbia's Drina River stands a tiny house perched atop a rock. Built in 1968 by a group of Uyghur swimmers who needed a resting place, this little structure has withstood floods and storms for over 5 decades. What makes it surreal isn't just its precarious position, but how it's become a symbol of resilience. A human structure that shouldn't logically survive in nature's path, but somehow does, year after year. If you're finding these places as incredible as I do, please take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We spend countless hours researching these natural wonders to bring you content that'll blow your mind every single time. The Dead Vley in Namibia presents one of the most photographed contradictions in nature: a white clay pan dotted with 900-year-old dead camel thorn trees. The trees died when drought cut them off from water, but they haven't decomposed because it's too dry for bacteria to survive. They simply bake in the sun against towering orange dunes, creating a Salvador Dali-like landscape that doesn't seem possible in reality. The trees stand as black skeletons against the white pan floor and orange dunes, a natural composition so perfect it looks artificially designed. In the Amazon River, the impossible happens daily where the Rio Negro meets the Solimões. These two massive rivers flow side by side without mixing for nearly 4 miles, creating a clear dividing line between their different colored waters. The Negro's dark tea-colored water, the result of decaying vegetation, flows at a different temperature and speed than the sandy-colored Solimões, creating this bizarre two-toned river that cruise passengers can actually dip their hands into both sides simultaneously. Peru's Rainbow Mountain remained the world's best-kept secret until around 2015, when climate change melted the snow cover that had hidden it for centuries. Now exposed, its surreal bands of turquoise, lavender, red and gold, created by different mineral deposits, make it look like someone took a paintbrush to the mountainside. What's particularly mind-blowing is that this wonder remained largely unknown to the outside world until just a few years ago, despite being visible from space. The Northern Lights might be familiar to many, but understanding what you're actually seeing elevates them from beautiful to truly surreal. When charged particles from solar storms collide with our atmosphere at speeds up to 45 million mph, they create what is essentially a giant television screen in the sky, with oxygen producing green and red lights, while nitrogen creates blue and purple hues. What's mind-blowing is that these curtains of light can stretch from 50 miles above Earth's surface to over 400 miles high, meaning when you watch them dance, you're witnessing an electromagnetic storm taller than the distance from New York to Boston. Finland's Lake Saimaa offers another optical wonder each winter. When conditions align perfectly, the lake freezes crystal clear without snow, and temperatures drop rapidly after rain. Methane, bubbles rising from decomposing matter on the lake bottom, become suspended in the ice like millions of white disks stacked atop each other. Walking across feels like floating above an alien landscape. These bubble stack ice formations are so clear you can see 30 feet down to the lake bottom in some areas. In Arizona's Antelope Canyon, light beams cut through narrow openings in the sandstone like solid objects you could almost touch. These shafts of light, visible only at specific times when the sun is positioned just right, illuminate the red-orange walls in ways that seem digitally enhanced but are completely natural. The Navajo name for Upper Antelope Canyon is Tsebeganilini, meaning the place where water runs through rocks. Though it's the light, not water, that creates the most surreal experience for visitors today. Australia's Great Barrier Reef stretches over 1,400 miles, so large it can be seen from space. What makes it truly surreal is the scale of life it contains. With over 1,500 fish species, 401 types of hard coral, and countless other marine organisms, it's basically an underwater continent with its own mountain ranges, valleys, and plains. But here's the heartbreaking reality. We've lost about half of the reef's coral cover since the 1980s due to climate change and water pollution. Scientists warn that without dramatic intervention, this living wonder could collapse within our lifetime. The world's largest cave, Son Doong in Vietnam, wasn't discovered until 1991 and wasn't explored until 2009. This cavern is so massive it has its own river, jungle, and weather system inside. At over 5 miles long, with sections reaching 650 feet tall, you could fit a 40-story skyscraper inside it or fly a Boeing 747 through its largest passage. What's particularly surreal is that despite our modern mapping technology, something this enormous remained hidden from human knowledge until just a few decades ago. Glacier National Park in Montana was named for its roughly 150 glaciers present when it was established in 1910. Today, only 25 remain, and scientists predict even these could disappear completely by 2030. What makes this situation surreal is the speed of transformation. We're witnessing geological changes that should take thousands of years happening within a human lifetime. Future generations may visit Glacier National Park without ever seeing an actual glacier there. Deep in Venezuela's Tepuy Mountains lies a cave system so vast and unexplored that it contains entire ecosystems unknown to science. The Cueva de los Cristales features giant selenite crystal formations up to 39 feet long, among the largest natural crystals ever discovered. The cave conditions are so extreme that researchers can only enter for short periods even with specialized gear. What's truly surreal is that these crystal formations, which look like something from Superman's Fortress of Solitude, began growing 500,000 years ago and remained completely unknown until a mining operation accidentally broke into the chamber in 2000. The island of Socotra off Yemen's coast has been called the most alien-looking place on Earth. And with good reason. Isolated from mainland Africa for millions of years, its endemic plant species evolved into forms found nowhere else. The iconic dragon's blood tree looks like an upside-down umbrella, while the bottle trees have swollen trunks that store water for the dry season. Nearly 37% of the island's plant species exist nowhere else on Earth. The closest comparison would be finding a small island populated entirely by creatures from Dr. Seuss books. Hidden beneath Antarctica's ice sheet, Lake Vostok remained sealed off from the rest of the world for approximately 15 million years. This massive freshwater lake, roughly the size of Lake Ontario, sits under 100 feet of ice and may contain unique life forms that have evolved in complete isolation for millions of years. Scientists have only recently managed to collect water samples without contaminating this pristine ecosystem, and what they're finding could revolutionize our understanding of life's adaptability. Before we end today's journey, I want to ask you something. Which of these surreal places would you most want to visit? Drop a comment below. I'm genuinely curious, and if you enjoyed exploring Earth's hidden wonders with us, please hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell. Our planet has so many more secrets to share, and we're just getting started. Until next time, keep wondering, keep exploring, and remember, the most surreal things on Earth are often hiding in plain sight.